The first ship came through the cloud cover without warning. No announcement. No flourish. Just a massive, silent shadow blotting out the noonday sun over what used to be Colorado. People stared. Then they screamed. By the time the 6th WYR Dominion dreadnought cracked the sky above New Nairobi, the council chamber in Geneva had already descended into chaos. "We have no military!" barked Councillor Vemura, slamming her data pad onto the holodable. "We gave up armed conflict generations ago. The Charter. To hell with the Charter!" snapped young Director Ian Malik, his voice shaking with urgency. "The Galactic Union signed it too, and now they've gone silent. No messages. No backup. Just nothing." Holograms buzzed around them, live footage of WYR gunships descending in formation, triangular hulls gleaming like obsidian knives. No shots fired. Not yet. Just presence. A warning, or perhaps a performance. "They're making us remember," said someone from the shadows. Heads turned. He stood at the edge of the room, a silhouette draped in a long gray coat, face hidden beneath the brim of a worn-out hat. Most had never seen him before. A few had. Those few fell silent. Elias Rain stepped into the light. He didn't carry a weapon. He didn't need to. His presence alone shifted the air in the chamber. "You're not authorized to speak here," said Councillor Vemura coldly. Elias ignored her. He stared instead at the projections, at Earth under siege. "You see invaders," he said softly. "I see a test. One the galaxy forgot we already passed." "Who are you?" Malik asked. "Someone who remembers what it cost us to become soft," Elias replied. "I was there the last time someone came to our door uninvited." "Impossible," said Vemura. "The last war ended nearly a century ago. And I've aged slower than most," Elias said, removing a small tag from his neck. The room scanned it automatically. A rank. A name. A legacy. Commander Elias Rain, Earth Defense Corps, retired. A name out of history books. A man presumed dead. "I've walked quiet roads and kept my silence for 70 years, Elias said. "I made peace with my ghosts. But I warned you, peace without vigilance is surrender in slow motion." Vemura folded her arms. "What do you propose we do? Throw rocks? We have no army. No warships. Just cultural stewards and reconstruction engineers." "Then unseal the vaults," Elias said simply. Gasps followed. Even Malik recoiled. "You can't be serious." "Dead serious," Elias said. "There's one in the Andes. Another beneath Siberia. You buried the old war machines because you feared them. But fear won't save you now. That tech is unstable." Vemura barked. "Outdated, rogue-coded. You'd doom us all. And doing nothing will spare us?" Elias countered. "They've sent scouts to our soil. They're testing for resistance. Find none, and they'll fire." A moment of silence hung like a blade. Outside, another tremor shook the foundations, atmospheric displacement. More ships. Lower now. Malik rubbed his temples. "Even if we open the vaults, who would pilot them? Who even remembers how they work?" "I do," Elias said. "And I'll teach whoever's willing. Not to win. To survive." "You expect a handful of relics to stop the WYR fleet?" Vemura said with a bitter laugh. "No," Elias said. "I expect the memory of what we once were to do it." Down in the lower levels of Geneva's forgotten tunnels, Elias stood alone before a sealed bulkhead. The walls were scorched in places, scars from another age. A faded symbol above the door read, V13, Earth Command Relic Lock. He placed his palm against the panel. A faint hum answered. The lights flickered once. Then again. Recognition sequence complete. The metal hissed and split open. The chamber beyond breathed dust. Silence. And then, slowly, blue lights flickered on along the spine of something enormous. A shape filled the dark, curved armor, tall as a house. A war frame. Not digital. Not remote. Analog interface. Full neural sync. The last of its kind. Its eyes opened. Designation, Ark Valkyrie. Pilot detected. Commander Rain. Awaiting orders. Back in orbit, on the bridge of the WIR Dreadnought Blood Rain, Chancellor Threx Valuin reviewed the scans of Earth with mild disgust. No mobilization detected. Civilian signals only. Primitive static defenses, reported a WIR lieutenant. They will fall before the end of week 1. Threx leaned back, amused. Humanity, he mused. Once the scourge of empires. Now little more than librarians of their own extinction. He tapped a screen. One human beacon still blinked. A deep signal, encrypted and old. Odd, he muttered. Where is that coming from? In the Andes, the ground rumbled. Elias walked into the cockpit of the Ark Valkyrie and placed his hands on the Nero grip. Memories surged. A flood of war, fire, loss, and discipline. The machine accepted him like an old friend. As it powered on, old satellites stirred in orbit. Hidden protocols activated. Silent alarms blinked across Earth's sky, not cries for help, but ancient beacons that said, "One still stands." Elias spoke softly into the headset. You thought we forgot. But we only waited. The Ark Valkyrie's systems flickered to life with a deep mechanical groan, like a war god waking from a long sleep. Lights traced across its alloy bones, pale blue veins beneath blackened armor. Dust danced in the chamber, stirred by turbines that hadn't spun in 70 years. Elias Rain stood inside the cockpit, silent. Neural sync initialized. He felt the machine remembering him. Synaptic patterns matched, though slower than before. The suit still recognized his rhythm, his way of moving, thinking, commanding. Even after all this time. Vitals linked. Neural handshake complete. The machine's voice echoed in his skull, a whisper of steel and memory. He placed a hand on the cold frame near the pilot's seat. The metal vibrated softly, like it was breathing. Outside the vault, a young voice called through the intercom. This is Arlen Fay. Civilian technician, orbital relay systems. A pause. They said I should assist you? Elias opened the external channel. You're not needed in here. I wasn't asking to enter. I was curious about why a relic like you gets priority power allocation while we're blacking out half of Asia. The old soldier stepped down from the cockpit, wiping grime off his gloves. As the door hissed open, he found a lanky young man barely in his 20s, glasses sliding down his nose, arms full of diagnostic tools. You think you're smart, Elias said. Arlen blinked. I graduated top of my class at. That wasn't a compliment. Arlen shifted uncomfortably. Look, I've read about the Ark units. They're beautiful machines. But they're obsolete. You can't seriously think one suit will scare off an entire WIR fleet. Elias stared him down. You ever seen a dog run from its own reflection? What? You underestimate what fear looks like when it's been sleeping under your feet. The younger man rolled his eyes, then stepped closer, eyeing the warframe. This thing isn't just ancient. It's barely holding structural integrity. No external cannon ports. No orbital shielding. Your suit would melt before it made it past the stratosphere. Elias gave a thin smile. You don't fight WIR with shielding. You fight them with memory. And precision. Arlen looked confused. Memory? Elias turned back toward the Ark. They've never faced a soldier who didn't fight to win, but fought to remind them why they should never have come. Meanwhile, aboard the Blood Rain, Chancellor Threx Valuin watched as another encrypted Earth signal blinked to life. He frowned. Patch me into the scout ships, he ordered. Deploy 3 to the southern continent. Find the source. It smells like a trap. It's a signature we haven't seen in generations, his lieutenant said quietly. Terran wargrade, but analog. Pre-galactic era. Threx's lip curled. A corpse twitching is still a corpse. Burn the anomaly. Back at the Andes vault, Elias led Arlen through the lower corridors. Steam rose from ancient vents. The walls were marked by the scorched imprints of once sealed compartments, test chambers, decontamination rooms, cryobays now empty. You never brought this place online after the war? Arlen asked. No need, Elias said. We promised never to open it again unless Earth was truly alone. And now we are, Arlen murmured. No, Elias said. Now they've come back. They entered the archive wing. A narrow space, filled with data cores, memory logs, battle strategies, mech software. Most of it encrypted in outdated formats. Arlen rubbed his temples. You want me to decrypt this? I want you to understand it, Elias replied. You can't fight with machines you don't respect. I thought respect was earned. Elias stopped. And you'll earn mine the moment you stop looking for stats and start asking what this place cost us. A beat passed. Arlen looked around, at the claw marks on the floor, the bullet-pocked doors. How many died here? Enough, Elias said. That we chose silence over victory. Hours later, the vault trembled. Elias looked up. Monitors flared with proximity alarms. WYR scout ships inbound. Altitude breach in 60 seconds. He didn't speak. He ran. Arlen followed, breath catching in his throat. They found us? Scouts, Elias said, already inside the Ark's cockpit. Fast. Light armor. Arrogant. 3 of them. We don't have orbital support. We don't need it. The warframe rose like a specter. In a single motion, the Ark launched through the ancient ceiling, rock and steel bursting as thrusters ignited. Elias felt the suit wrap around his instincts, his thoughts guiding its limbs. He didn't fly it. He became it. Above the Andes, the 3 WYR scouts spread out, sleek and insectal. They spotted the Ark rising, laughed through comms, mocking the primitive design. Elias didn't answer. He let them descend. They opened fire, pulse blasts searing the air. The Ark dodged. Danced. Twisted. And then, from its wrist, a spike shot forward, hard light forged and razor sharp. It pierced the first scout through its cockpit. Before the second could bank, Elias launched upward, dragging his heel across its fuselage with a sonic burst. Metal screamed. The ship spiraled into the mountains. The last turned to flee. Elias marked the trajectory. The Ark's shoulder plate unfolded, a coil cannon hissed, charged by heat drawn from the suit's motion. One shot. The scout vanished in flame. Down below, Arlen stood stunned, eyes wide as the wreckage rained down far beyond the ridgelines. Elias landed softly, armor steaming, silence all around. You killed them all. Elias dismounted. They weren't here to talk. Arlen swallowed. So now what? Now they know, Elias said. On the blood rain, Threx Valuen watched the telemetry feed cut out. He leaned forward, expression darkening. One suit, he muttered. A walking fossil, and it wiped them clean. His second-in-command stepped back. Orders? Threx's eyes glinted. We invade now. I want that relic broken and broadcast across the stars. The Ark Valkyrie stood in the mountain clearing, dark and silent beneath the crimson dawn. Smoke still rose from the craters where the WYR scouts had fallen. Ash drifted on the cold wind, carried west over the broken stone. Inside the suit, Elias Rains sat still. His eyes closed. He wasn't waiting. He was listening. For the hum of the enemy's pulse drives. For the tremor in Earth's bones. For the shift in the sky that meant more were coming. They were. In Geneva, the council had been reduced to whispers and frantic messaging. The scout battle was public now, streamed, dissected, translated across Earth's shattered news networks. Director Malik stared at the footage in silence. One man, one machine, against 3 alien warcraft. All gone in seconds. Counselor Vemura looked ill. We told them we had no more warriors, she muttered. Malik didn't answer. He turned instead to the technician team coordinating orbital traffic. Any word from the Galactic Union? He asked. No response, came the reply. Their satellites logged the scout deaths. They know. But they're not coming. Malik nodded. Then we stand alone. He looked back at the projection, Elias, dismounting from the Ark Valkyrie as if it were just a machine. No grand pose. No speech. Just quiet purpose. Send him a message, Malik said. Ask what he needs. The request reached Elias by late afternoon. A basic transmission, short and formal. Requesting logistical needs for planetary defense. Authorization approved. He stared at it, expression unreadable. Then he forwarded a reply. 3 things. A clean hangar. A list of every under 25 engineer and cadet with combat simulation scores above 60. And full access to Orbital Archive 17. By midnight, Elias walked the floors of an abandoned launch facility in Patagonia. The hangar echoed with ghosts, once filled with dropships and prototype suits, now reclaimed by dust and silence. Until the youth arrived. 23 of them. Some nervous. Others skeptical. All too young to remember what war really was. Arlen Fay stood beside Elias, arms folded. You sure about this group? No, Elias said. But I'm sure they need to see what's buried inside them. He stepped forward and addressed the group. You've seen the footage. You've seen what's coming. This isn't a recruitment. This is an inheritance. A girl raised her hand. Brown-skinned, sharp-eyed, barely 19. Sir, what exactly are we inheriting? Elias met her gaze. Earth's unfinished lesson. They stared. He pointed toward the sealed inner doors. Behind that wall is the rest of our truth. Unused arc shells. War code. Failsafes. I'll teach you what they were designed to do, and what they were designed not to do. A boy in the back frowned. You mean, to destroy? No, Elias said. To end wars without starting new ones. If you came here to learn how to kill, leave now. But if you came to learn how to be the reason killing doesn't happen again, stay. No one left. For 3 days he trained them. Not in tactics. Not in weaponry. In memory. He made them watch raw feeds from the last war. He narrated the silence between battles. The breakdowns. The betrayals. He showed them what courage looked like when no one expected survival. He didn't glorify it. He explained its cost. At night, he slept in the hangar beside the Ark, as if proximity might anchor him. On the 4th day, Arlen approached him with a data pad. We decrypted most of Orbital Archive 17. You were right. They've been watching Earth for years. Probing. Elias nodded. Waiting for us to forget. We did forget, Arlen admitted. But you didn't. I wasn't allowed to, Elias said. Some truths wake you every night. In orbit, the blood rain broke through Earth's outer defenses like wet paper. Chancellor Threx stood on the observation deck as 6 Dominion cruisers took position above key regions: North America, Eurasia, the Indo-African corridor. No broadcasts. No parley. Just quiet pressure. Below, Earth's skies turned red with the burn of atmospheric re-entry. Threx grinned. Send the message. At the Geneva Council, a new feed cut through all others. W-Wire Commander's voice. Earth. We see you. One relic does not make an army. Surrender now, and we may let your libraries live. Counselor Vemura turned pale. We're not ready. He's not ready. Malik didn't answer. He turned back to the screen. A signal was already rising from the Patagonia facility. A response. Elias stood before a holocom, transmitting from the hangar's command node. He said nothing at first. Just stared. Then, quietly. You believe Earth is defenseless. That we've softened. That our silence is weakness. He stepped aside, revealing 23 young recruits behind him, each one in partial arc shell exosuits, worn, old, but functioning. You're not wrong about one thing, Elias said. We don't have an army. He turned toward the camera. We have a memory. And that will be enough. Far above, Threx Valuin watched the feed cut off. His smirk wavered. You said they'd crumble? His aide hesitated. They appear to be adapting, sir. Then we burn the adaptation. He turned to his second. Begin ground assault? I want him brought to me alive. In the Patagonia base, warning klaxons blared. They're dropping troop pods, shouted one cadet. Multiple vectors, full planetary deployment. Arlen looked at Elias. What now? The old soldier didn't flinch. He climbed into the Ark cockpit, sealing the hatch with a hiss. Then over the speakers. Now we walk. The first impact struck at dawn. Pods the size of freight containers slammed into the Patagonian soil, each one ejecting black-armored WIR shock troopers. They moved with precision, silent, coordinated, merciless. But they didn't find fear. They found resistance. Not from armies. From memory. The Ark Valkyrie strode across the frost-hardened plain, thunder with every step. Behind it, a formation of 23 recruits moved in sync, each inside a stripped-down, retooled Ark shell. No two suits looked alike, scratched paint, exposed plates, jury-rigged upgrades, but they moved with unity. Elias led them straight into the WIR vanguard. No radio chatter. No battle cry. Just resolve. The WIR line opened fire, plasma bursts, kinetic hammers, and shockwaves engineered to shatter armor. Elias shifted left, absorbing a direct blast to the chest. The Ark staggered, then adjusted. A flick of the arm, and the shoulder-mounted coil cannon discharged, tearing through two troopers mid-leap. Hold formation, Elias said. Let them commit. Then close. The recruits obeyed. They weren't soldiers. Not yet. But they were his. Above them, Chancellor Threx Valuin watched from orbit. His command ship hovered silently, just beyond atmospheric drag. The feed from the ground came in sharp, humans fighting like it was the first war all over again. He leaned forward. Who trained them? The reply came with a whisper. The Old One. Rain. Threx's eyes narrowed. Impossible. He vanished. Apparently not. Threx stood. If he lives, then burn the ground he walks on. Down below, the battlefield surged. A dome of kinetic energy exploded outward from the Ark Valkyrie, throwing a squad of WIR soldiers into the cliffs. One recruit, a girl half crushed by debris, climbed back into her damaged shell. Bleeding, panting, alive? Elias crouched beside her. You know what to do? He asked. She nodded. Breach their flank. Then fade. He didn't smile. Just patted her shoulder and moved on. They weren't winning with superior weapons. They were winning with unpredictability. Because Earth hadn't fought like this in 100 years, and WIR doctrine wasn't prepared for ghosts. Halfway through the assault, a tremor cut through the valley. Then another. The sky fractured. 3 Dominion drop cruisers entered low orbit, launching seismic rounds that cracked the mountain ridge. Landslides began. Elias stopped mid-stride. Evac the West Pass, he ordered. Arlen's voice crackled in. There's a tunnel system, pre-war escape route. I can guide them through. You sure it's stable? No. Then make it stable. Elias rerouted 2 cadets to escort the wounded. He turned his Ark toward the incoming cruisers. Send me targeting telemetry. You're not serious, Arlen said. I'm always serious. The Ark climbed the eastern slope like an avalanche in reverse. It wasn't built to fly. But Elias had always believed flight was just a matter of intent and sacrifice. At peak elevation, he ejected the external cooling shell. Heat built instantly. Warning lights flooded the HUD. He ignored them. Locked onto the lead cruiser. Kneeled. Braced. Fired. The recoil nearly broke the Ark's spine. The shell tore through the cruiser's underbelly, a beam of compressed force amplified by every system override Elias could trigger. The cruiser didn't explode, it came apart, piece by piece, like paper against a blade. The others turned. But Elias was already moving again. Inside blood rained, chaos spread. They're adapting too fast. Threx growled. What is this? No answer. Bring him to me, he snapped. Personally. A strike team launched. Elite. Armored. Direct descent to the battlefield. Elias knew they were coming. He waited for them. He walked alone into the ravine. The team arrived in a spearhead, 6 in all. Tall. Armored in iridescent black. The Dominion's finest. One step forward, voice amplified. You are Elias Rain? I am. You will surrender. I've done that before. It didn't end well. Without another word, Elias charged. The arc hit like a meteor. 2 were crushed before they could move. The third managed to fire, but his shot deflected off the Valkyrie's braced shoulder. Elias countered with a hammer fist that shattered the man's exosuit, spine, and pride in one strike. The others backed up, circling. This time, they came together. Elias led them. He led them in. Then activated his final override. The arc flared with stored kinetic energy. A pulse, silent, invisible, catastrophic, burst from its core. A weapon never fired in the last war because no one had the resolve to trigger it manually. He did. And when the light cleared, nothing stood except the Valkyrie. Barely. He staggered. Systems failing. Armor collapsing. But he stood. And Earth stood with him. Later, aboard the Blood Rain, Threx Valuin watched the feed go dark. His command team was gone. Ground assault decimated. Human defenses active and unified. And still, Elias lived. Recall the fleet, his strategist said quietly. We're exposed. No, Threx hissed. We were promised weakness. We found myth. He closed his eyes. We leave. But we remember. 2 days passed. The fires were doused. The wounded were carried home. And Elias Rain stood before the council one last time. You asked if Earth had warriors, he said. It doesn't. Not like before. He looked back at his recruits. But it has memory. It has teeth. And that's enough. Malik stepped forward. You won't stay? Elias shook his head. I'm done walking. Then what do we do now? Elias gave his only smile. Now you teach others to remember. Far in the Andes, the Ark Valkyrie was lowered into a new vault. It was scorched, broken, and unbeaten. Above it, a single plaque was placed. Earth doesn't fight often. But when it does, don't blink.